and welcome to a new episode of Crop Source Investigations, where we go into the work here at my botanic garden of how we do our scientific analysis to know where crops like coffee, cacao or wood are actually coming from, where they have been raised, let's say, and if that was not from a deforested area. Now, to test our machine here, the Agilent 5800, we're still in the very initial stages, and it's all about getting to know the variation that we can get in our results. And we're actually also interested to know how processing of these crops influences the signal that we're analyzing. So in that regard, we did an analysis with coffee, not the beans, but the actual beverage that I collected from several of the coffee machines here within the garden, and then I also did an aeropress with a barley coffee that I got actually from some friends. Shout out to M&M. Next to this, also compared just water from places close to the coffee machines, but then also water from the spa terms. Now, spa water is kind of known as a barista water. It's popular among baristas for making their coffee. And when I just happened to be in the terms recently, they had three variants. One of the variants was with iron, actually. It was just visible. You could literally just see the iron in the water. It kind of gave a powder. It's wasn't even fully in solution. And next to that water, then they also had the regular spagen, and then there was actually the water that they used for the terms that I was swimming in actually. That's not the water I collected. It was from the fountains there. So this gives us a very easy benchmark, just looking at the amount of iron. You can see it's very striking how that's a lot more than what we're measuring in the other iron quantities from those other waters. And the thing is, so actually this is, I still think we need to adjust the dilution, because we took 3 milliliter of water or the coffee beverage. We added 6 milliliter of the nitric acid, so that any kind of organics that would still be either in the water, and of course, we would expect with a good extraction rate that we get organics from making the coffee, but that's all digested away with the 6 milliliter of nitric acid. So then actually the amount of extra minerals you would still see in that liquid would be an indication of the extraction rate from those machines, which is also an interesting analysis to then make. But let's now just focus on that water and the fact that we give the quantities here, but I think we still need to adjust the dilution factor, because now it's indicating 8.7 milligrams per liter, and as I say, you can just visibly see the iron there, so I actually expect a lot more. So if we adjust the dilution factor, that's probably going to, see here we have the dilution factor, and we just need to kind of calculate which one that should be, and then it's probably going to give us a more appropriate analysis. So we're still in early stages. We still actually need to compare it to certified reference materials, and there's a haze sample from the European Commission coming our way, where then you actually know, okay, we need to be able to get those weights out of it, so you can test and validate your methods further. But at the very least, you can already do a clear comparative study, because as you can see, this is just a lot more iron than we get in those other waters. So that was the regular, it's even giving it an undershoot. Now, a point to actually consider when looking specifically at iron is that it interferes with a lot of other molecules. So now I actually know that that this should be giving us This should be giving us the overlay, showing it. Show overlay. Still also getting a little bit used to the coffee. I thought this is like something like this. Okay, so I still need to check how I look at the overlay, but you can see here, you know, it is a very clear signal for iron, this one. It's also the other ones are giving quite, you know, this one is actually very clear, centered around where we expect to pick up that signal from iron. So let's concentrate on, so this one is already a little bit off, so probably some interference. So this is the most clear signal, sorry, there for iron. So let's have a better look in this column and have a look at those other waters. Again, the aim actually gives us, you know, we're outside of the range to be able to estimate a very low quantity. That's kind of the order of difference there, and also for the one in the terms. But when we use that water from the terms and we then, I did the aeropress, you know, we're getting some iron out of the coffee that came from Bali. So, you know, maybe it's a good, very strong coffee from Indonesia. In fact, it was, you know, a year over date. It was already pre-ground, which of course as a coffee lover, that's usually not the kind of coffee you want to buy. But it was vacuum sealed up to the point I opened it last week, and still, you know, the iron clearly didn't fly away. You don't really expect iron to fly away anyway, would you? So this kind of test here, we can compare those, and then we can have a look to that other, you see, even the filter coffee. So I did a ratio, the standard ratio of 60 grams for a liter, and I don't know how much coffee, you know, they're preparing for their filter coffee that they gave us at lunch, but it was a different coffee, of course, but less iron here. Then we have this machine, actually the Zenzia, which is just so liquid looking like, but it might be different water. That might be the difference, because we do see the Jura, which gives me a much more denser, a clearly more better extraction rate. With the Jura, this exact same coffee is 0.26 on iron here and 0.19. And those are actually the waters. You know, that water had just been sitting in the tank from the Jura, and this one is the one that came from the dispenser, the water dispenser in the cafeteria, which, you know, 0.06 and 0.02. You know, you can observe a little bit of that variance there, but then the Zenzia giving less of an extraction than the Jura, of course, which, you know, the Jura is a valuable option when you know, want to make it easy for yourself. So this is just shedding a little bit of light. You know, we can just also, you know, show you how those different profiles keep looking like. You know, in that spot, it's just a very clear signal. And then, you know, when we're looking at the water versus coffees, of course, when you almost don't have a signal, it's really zoomed in more, and then you see more of the kind of background noise like this. So this is how we go about here in Mai's Botanic Garden in validating our methods, studying the results, all with the goal of building up this reference database, so that, you know, when you bring your coffee here and you say mine's coming from that region in Brazil, that we can actually scientifically test that and, you know, give you some validation for the hard work you might be doing as a coffee importer to ensure that here in Europe we can enjoy a good quality cup of coffee that doesn't come from an area that was recently deforested. So I hope this was helpful for you to learn more about how we do the analysis here, about the coffee value chain even, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope to see you on the next episode.